Okay, so we're live. We do this every week, every Wednesday. I've got my buddies Brian White from Futuraza, Nick Gibbs from Investing Against the Grain. Today, just days before Tesla launches Robotaxi sometime in June, we're starting to get more and more of these media hits. These are literally, that's what they are, hits. They're basically misconstruing the truth. This one came from Bloomberg. An article that says a fatal Tesla crash shows the limits of full self-driving. This is written by Dana Hull, Craig Trudell, and forwarded by Ed Ludlow. Basically, they describe a crash, a car on full self-driving that killed a person. And that's how they describe it. They don't tell you the full story. The full story was this was done in November 2023. This was using an old version of FSD. And by the way, this crash happened because another crash, human drivers, gas cars, whatever, hitting each other, human fatal hitting themselves. And then this one was a woman who came out of her car and she was hit because of blinding light. Lots of other things to discuss here, but this is Ed Ludlow. And if you just read this, it's disgusting because they basically position it. They know the full truth, but they won't share the truth. And at the end of the day, this is probably going to kill more people. This article written by these guys is going to kill more people than if they just told the truth. You guys tell me if I'm acting a little bit more saying more than I need to, but tragic Tesla crash in Arizona raises new questions about Elon Musk's full self-driving system as Tesla prepares to launch driverless robotaxis. Very irresponsible. This is version 11, 2023. This is a long time ago. Basically, they showed that this woman was walking out there because there was a crash ahead of them. And then because of the sun, the person that was driving the car, he was apparently on full self-driving, hit this person that was walking around. It killed this person. So, again, let's go through the details of what happened here. But not a good thing. What do you guys think?
Well, I'll start by saying I ran the math. It's every 700,000 miles that a full meat-driven car crashes versus 7.4 million miles on FSD supervised. That means that 52 people that Ed Ludlow convinces not to use FSD, there will be one more crash per year. Now, you can say that most people will look at this article and see through it, but it only takes 52 to result in an additional crash. And if it's 5,200 people, well, then that's 100 extra crashes. And this is already blowing up. This is getting huge. And it is, it's very dishonest. Version 11 wasn't great. It wasn't perfect. Version 12 was a generational step forward. Version 13 was a generational step forward from that. But one thing you'll notice is that now, more than ever, it's inclined to disengage when there's sun glare. It didn't do that as aggressively before. And I think that is Tesla learning from this mistake. If I'm not 100% sure I can see, I'm going to leave it up to you. So I think it's ghoulish and dishonest, and Ed Ludlow is not an idiot. He just knows that most of the people that view his post definitely are.
So I have no problem with Bloomberg posting this because I expect this from Bloomberg. This article or this post by Ed really triggered me because I was pretty adamant about how I think Ed is a joke and a clown a while ago. And a lot of people in the community kind of told me that I was wrong, that, I need to, at least have someone, not shit on the voices that, not crap on the voices that are helping Tesla. But for me, he just seemed like another Ross Gerber, another Gary Black, just fake. Like, I don't know why, but this was my point of view. And so I expected from Bloomberg, but after I was kind of like, okay, well, maybe everyone's right and I'm wrong. Okay, he seems like he's just been legit, for a while now. But then for him to come out with this post, I honestly, everyone in the Tesla community should stop engaging with this guy. We should stop platforming him. This guy was a nobody until, in my opinion, the Tesla community made him someone that was relevant. He wasn't getting traction from anyone. He was just nothing. This is such a disgusting piece because he knows what he's doing. He knows that it's not true. He knows that FSD, let's be clear, FSD has never killed a single person ever, period, bar none. Hasn't. It's the onus is on the driver. The driver made a mistake. It happens. Accidents happen. As is apparent with what led to this was a previous accident. FSD is not at fault for this. The human's at fault for this. Whether it was intentional, not intentional, it doesn't matter. You can't blame the software that you know that you're supposed to be in charge of. It's just end of story. It doesn't go beyond that. And so for them to put this out and for Ed to have no context of it, not give the dates, not give any nuance or anything is just beyond the height of disgusting. I don't know what he's doing here. I feel like everybody in the Tesla community who gave him some grace just got betrayed in the worst way. And it just should not be tolerated. It shouldn't. I understand the whole point of view is like we want to always have open lines of communication because we want to be able to give the other side of the story. But you know what we've learned up to this point? That's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. Bloomberg is going to keep posting stories like this. You're going to have people, media, put out their FUD. It's irrelevant. Our best way of defending and talking about the other side is just to use X as our medium to voice out to the world, not to go and converse and give them any more air, because guess what? They're dying. Media is dying. Hence why they have to do this kind of BS. That's why they're doing this, because they got nothing else.
Yeah, that's a good point about Ed. I mean, we thought that he was actually being fair. He drives FSD himself. He didn't do this report. It was Dana Hull. They explained later the timing, because a lot of people just jumped on it like, whoa, why were you holding on to the story if it was November 2023? Why just now? He kind of explains that a little bit, but let's just clarify exactly what some of the Tesla community members are saying here. So Ed and Dana, any loss of life is tragic, said Jeff Lutz. Of course, preventing many times more of these is what is the highest order bit. That's what we're doing. We're trying to prevent more of these from happening. You writing this article today, you've got blood in your hands if you delay the rollout of autonomous driving, which will prevent more of these accidents in the first place. Number one, the timing of this is FSD was engaged. Was version 11 FSD. Okay, the version that they had in 2023 was version 11. This is before the neural net version 12, 13, and 14, which is what that we're all driving now, the 13 version. This is end-to-end neural net complete re-architecture of Tesla's self-driving system before Cortex, before a lot. So why didn't you guys say that? Why didn't you say that this happened with a very old version of the software? 2, Tesla's on version 13 now since November 2024, preparing for another large leap. There have been huge improvements in driving safety and comfort since version 11. 2, have to look at total probability of this occurrence on FSD versus non-FSD. Why don't they report on how many accidents are caused by humans at the same time to compare if FSD? So you reported one accident on FSD. Okay, this is going to happen. There will be accidents, but it's not whether or not there's 0 accidents. It's whether or not it's much, much less than humans, which is like 44,000 people killed in the United States, 1.1 million killed around the world. That is just killed. The MAME and the accidents, the damage is like 4 million people are injured. All data reported by Tesla show it to be many net times safer already now than human driving. There are charts published regularly in this. Is Bloomberg not aware of comparing FSD safety compared to non-FSD drivers? Timing of this article. How long have Bloomberg or the controlling parties had the November 2023 incident data where it's not available for public disclosure? Ed did reply to that. He said this, okay, November 2023, the crash happened. In June 2024, that's when Tesla reported the crash to NHTSA. October 2024, NHTSA opens ODI investigation. October 2024, Dana files the public record. She's the author of the article. It's a request, right? Spring, that's when she gets the records back. Spring 2025. And then why spring? Why didn't she give an exact date there? That's odd. Why spring? Why not like a month? Everything else is a month. And then June 4th, that's when they published this. So yes, I get you. It's not like you held on to it, but still, you kind of did.
The timeline's not what's important here at all.
Yeah.
It's the other points that were made. The timeline's honestly irrelevant. They care about the perception of doing good. They don't care about actually doing good. They don't care about saving lives. They care about looking like they're saving lives. That's all they care about. They have blood on their hands. They will have blood on their hands, because anyone who reads this and they're scared away from this, any kid, any child, any elderly person, any teenage individual who decides not to use it because they think they're in a more dangerous situation, it's on them. And they don't care.
Agreed entirely. I mean, it's we know it's safer if you use it, and encouraging people to not use it is, I mean, that's what Dan O'Dowd's doing. I've said before, Dan has blood on his hands because his crusade has been far and wide. He's funded it aggressively, and it doesn't work on people like us, but we're in the weeds. We're not going to fall for it. I imagine a lot of people did, even if that number is small, 5%, 10% who say, you know what, I'm not going to use it. That's literal lives that have statistically been lost. And we don't know which ones. We can't know which ones. But, you know, it's gross.
I have this post written by Omar's catalog, that I thought he did a fantastic job of really breaking this down. So he says, Bloomberg is out with a new FUD story today, trying to smear Tesla ahead of the Robotaxi launch this month. Okay, so here's his points. Very interesting, right? So first of all, you know, he explained what happened, right? The 71-year-old grandmother, Jonah's story, stepped out, got out of the passenger seat, walked out onto the highway in direct sun glare. So then that's when this guy named Carl Stock, who was driving a Tesla Model Y with FSD, that's when this accident occurred, the fatal crash. But let's start. Number one, if the reason why everybody's walking around the highway in the first place was there was a previous accident. If those two cars had FSD, that accident would not have even occurred in the first place. Nobody would have to come in out. So, you know, that's an interesting point. And then, of course, she needs to be walking out in the highway. And then, by the way, it turned out that the FSD actually saw the sun glare was not the issue. And then they go, LiDAR could have solved it. No, LiDAR is not being used in highways right now. So how do you know that LiDAR would have solved that problem? And the FSD itself had no problem recognizing that there was a person there. It was the speed by which it made that decision to change. And that's the difference between version 12.13 versus the old version. The guy driving the car, the FSD version of the car, he didn't even, when he reported it, he didn't even say anything. He didn't blame FSD for this, right? That wasn't the reason. So this is, you know, and then
there's quick, look at the angle of the sun there. LiDAR doesn't work well when the sun is directly in its eyeball. So this, I am not convinced LiDAR would have made any difference at all in this particular case.
Again, they're not using, there's nobody using it on highways, or Waymo's not using it on highways, so we don't know if it would have not. And then as the car was driving, you can see a lot of other cars slow down. You can see cars on the side of with their flashing, blinking lights. This is the kind of things that neural net version base of end-to-end neural nets, which is the new versions, 12, 13, and 14, as that comes out, that's the kind of things that it learns and it has intelligence to realize, okay, I need to slow down. This version of version 11 didn't have that yet. So it didn't have the time to react in time. But to blame FSD when you're not even using the same FSD that is now today, that is irresponsible. And you, Ed and Dana, you guys, you're the ones that's going to be responsible if you slow this down. So very good post by Omar, breaking it down, basically step by step of what might have happened.
Yeah, they know better. They know what they're doing.
So do you guys expect, I mean, obviously we all do, the timing of this, June 4th, that's when they do this great article. The attacks are going to happen. They're going to attack more. How damaging is this to Tesla today? Like, this article comes out We don't know yet what's going to happen to the general public, view, but it's going to be war, right? A war of minds.
So I am always of the mind that the conspiracies, generally speaking, don't exist. This may not be a conspiracy, but uh, it's very peculiar to me that we have seen such an uptick in FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt surrounding FSD over the past 2 weeks. I mean, the uptick is palpable, it is noticeable, it is pretty big. It could be that everyone's just jumping on the bandwagon, that maybe those stories are trending, but the timing is very strange to me. It does not feel organic. These are stories. This one, the fact that she said spring, well, March 20th, some people believe it starts March 1st. She's been sitting on this story for at least months, at least months. Why now? Well, maybe it took that long to write it. Maybe other things were more pressing. Maybe it was scheduled. And it would not surprise me one bit if this story was finished 2 weeks ago and they were waiting for like an announcement date to try and maximize the return on investment, to get the most clicks for the amount of time spent writing it, see if anything new came out while they were waiting to run it. It wouldn't surprise me one bit. The timing is, I mean, it is suspicious. I get that you can't finish your story about 2023 until you get the footage in 2025, but to sit on it for months, that's not how the news works. The news is run the second you get it. That's why it's the news. Unless Bloomberg is now the History Channel, and I missed the memo.
Brian, even when it comes to the release of the article, like, again, I think it's irrelevant. I think it's the way Ed has chosen to ignore everything else Jeff mentioned, ignore everything everyone's posting, the whole community that's essentially platformed him this entire time. And he doesn't even have the balls to go and actually give defend yourself. At least defend yourself on your silence. But I don't mind. I think the timing's irrelevant because, look, I really don't care if this came out today or tomorrow or the day of the Robotaxi event. That's fine. I get it. You want to pick your spots and take your shots. That's fine. But if you're going to do that, be a real reporter. Tell the whole story. Don't pick and choose your pieces. Talk about how this is literally 3 or 2 generations old technology that happened essentially a lifetime ago, when we all see how fast AI is progressing. And by the way, the model that they're going to put out for autonomy, nobody's even used that yet. Only Tesla's internally. So we don't actually know what that looks like. Where is all of that context? Where's that balanced perspective? These journalists are biased. These journalists are not journalists. In fact, I was talking to a friend of mine earlier today who's an attorney. I was asking him, at what point, can we actually sue for these things? Because this is wrong. There should be a way to have a shareholder class action lawsuit, or I don't know, some libel, defamation. There's something. This is BS, because this is messing with people's retirement, with people's investments, based on somebody choosing to pretend to play reporter, give a biased account of a story. I don't care when you put it out. Tell the full story. Be a real reporter. Enough of this biased, one-sided BS.
And I would add to that, because I agree, you're absolutely right. I would add to that, think how much more valuable the story would have been for Bloomberg if Ed Ludlow followed it up with here's my opinion on it, because I have the vehicle, I have the technology, and I've been using it. Here's the parts where I disagree. Here's the parts where I agree. It would have been a better story. But I don't know, maybe they're not smart. I can't believe that's the case. They seem like pretty reasonably intelligent people. They're certainly reasonably successful people. So missed opportunities all around. We know this is old tech. We know this is not how it works. And if you look at the screen captures from the dash cam, you can tell the windshield's filthy. Herbert was having problems with his FSD until he got the camera shroud area cleaned, and now it performs better, as I understand. Is that right, Herbert?
Yeah, it does. I mean, yeah. Here's interesting one here too. Like, I don't have problems with sunlight, direct sunlight, like other people have said, because once they cleaned out my issue with my car was I was having a lot of sunlight warnings, and then they cleaned. I brought to Tesla service. They cleaned out underneath the windshield where the camera is. They cleaned that out because it was fogged in there. And ever since that's happened, now 4.5 months, zero disengagements, no warnings about sunlight, glare, sunlight. So anybody who complains that they still get that sunlight warning, please go check out to see if you've got that issue. This is Omar here. He's talking about, look at this video here. Where is it now?
While you find that, the other thing too is, like, let's be very clear. These people don't understand what they're talking about. That's when I first got into it with Ed, was because I was talking about how ignorant he is on talking about how these neural nets function. And once again, he's showing his stupidity on the topic, or not him specifically. In this case, he didn't write the article, but Bloomberg in general. This is not a scene problem. Even with version 11, it wasn't a scene problem. All right, cameras don't have issues seen in the dark. They don't have issues seen, like, they're literally. It's like people don't understand how pixels work or how photons work. Like, this is like really basic things to understand, especially if you're going to be in this space, on how it works. I mean, go back and watch some Andre Kapowski videos talking about voxels and photon counts coming in, but this is purely a AI problem. It's a neural net problem that Tesla was solving for. Hence, one of the moves to go end to end. Hence, one of the reasons why we haven't been seeing these problems persist. And hence why they're able to, when it did happen, solve the problem quickly, and they're able to talk about the blindness of the sun blinding the cameras. It's not that a camera can't see. A camera can see everything. A camera, it's dumb technology what a camera does. It's the neural nets being able to depict what it's seen. Like, it's just like, this is just so mind-blowing basic things. Like, people need to go understand how pixels work, understand how light works and how it feeds into a camera. This is just, I can't believe this to me is worse than having the LiDAR discussion at this point.
That is actually true. So this article that was written by, or the post that was written by Bloomberg, by Ed Ludlow, it's gotten community noted on X. So that means that anybody who sees it now, his post, there's a community note that explains now that this is an old version of FSD, that it happened in 2023. It's like, why didn't you guys even explain that? Anyways, do you guys think, though, that this will just, at least now, this will tone down the damage that this could cause? Or do you think it's, you know what? All these other, as we will see, CNBC report on this now. They'll just jump all over this without including all that information. And is it going to be an all-out war at this point?
And I'm not seeing the community note. I just looked at it now. Part 1, no community note. 2, I don't see it.
Oh, I saw it. Interesting.
Okay. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
X likes you better than me.
I don't know, man. Yeah.
Well, are you participating in community notes as a...
I am. Yeah.
That's probably wise. You're seeing the pre-note that hasn't been published yet.
Gotcha. Yeah. I voted for that. Yeah.
In this, look, just every morning I watch CNBC here with my wife before we go to the gym. I know. And we watch Squawk Box. So it's Becky Quick, Andrew Ross Sorkin, who you guys probably know from DealBook, the famous "Go F Yourself," right, with Elon, and Joe Kernan. Well, Joe Kernan's clearly is obviously like the Republican that's there, and over the last like several years, he's been very much he called himself a Elon fanboy, and this was before he even started supporting Trump and all that. Today, he was on there talking about how Elon is sitting here crying about the bill and the deficit, and how Elon's biased because he cares about his clean energy and all the benefits that he gets, and boohoo and all this stuff. And he was trying to say that that's why Elon's against this. And again, this is not someone who's not on X, who doesn't see everything. He follows Elon, so he sees everything Elon's posts. But this again is the media just being dishonest once again. Because first of all, the bill doesn't get rid of the ZEV credits that he referred to. The big beautiful bill doesn't touch the ZEV credits, at least to my understanding, it doesn't. It touches the IRA credits on that front. And Elon's the one who, before the IRA ever passed, was saying, get rid of it. We don't need it. Elon's only point. What do you mean, kind of? He said that from the very beginning. He said, we don't need it.
Right. He said, if you also get rid of the oil and gas subsidies.
No, before the IRA ever passed, Elon was out there saying, we don't need this. Don't pass it. We don't need any more incentives.
I would agree with you on that. A few years ago, that was the thing. When it was discussed last year during the election, he said, just get rid of subsidies on all of it. All of it. EVs and gas cars. And Congress
and that's
like, EVs,
that's
I heard you loud and clear.
That's the dishonesty part I'm getting to, is that he chose to say that Elon was upset about getting rid of the subsidies. And he's like, no, you're missing what his whole point is he's saying get rid of all subsidies, cut everything. He's not trying to benefit from anything. He's saying just get rid of all of it. And that doesn't come up in the conversation at all. It's everyone's picking and choosing. It's like there's just nobody can be honest about the whole picture. It's like everybody's got their blinders, and the second something doesn't agree with what they think or they're saying, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to report on the thing. I don't know how people live with themselves. Like, how do you sit there knowing the other side of this? Not even like it's a moral thing. Like, do you think life starts here or life starts there? Like, that stuff's like, okay, like that's always going to be great because that can be religious or a personal thing. But words that somebody said, like someone's actual point of view that they, cogently put out there for you to read, and you're just choosing a certain part. It's like, that's just dishonesty. And I don't know how people sit there and just go on their soapbox and can speak ad nauseum about this and put that out into the world, knowing that they are putting out a lie, a blatant lie. That we can all go look and see that it's a lie.
The thing is, we can't all go look and see. People just read the headlines and they form an opinion. Then more people read it, they form an opinion. And that's why I've been saying now, twice now in this episode, this is war against us and the media. There's going to be a narrative. There are enemies of Tesla and Elon Musk that are going to come out and try to shut down this Robotaxi launch. And I'm wondering if you guys and other Tesla investors are concerned. Are you concerned that some other group could actually end up winning the hearts and minds of people and make them think, right? This information has been around for years now. And now you got to get out there and defend if there's FUD. And then you got to explain right away what is the truth. My wife always asks me, sends me notes every day. Is this true, false, true or false? And almost always, let's open it up because there's a kernel of truth here. That sentence is true. This is false. This is a nuanced answer. Why did they position this way? And we go through the list, and I can defend everything I'm saying there. So it's like it's really a difficult thing these days.
One thing I would say in conclusion on the ZEV credits, those are not going away, but relaxing the mileage requirements may diminish the value of ZEV credits. You may not need to purchase as many. Misinformation.
The emission standards. Yeah.
The misinformation is as old as information. Lies have been around since language, I'm sure, probably longer. But yeah, to what Nick was saying, frustrates me when someone knows the truth, has lived the truth, like someone who owns a Tesla and uses FSD, who then sees this report and is like, ooh, I'm going to repost this and give it a bunch of traction, even though there's no way Ed does not know the context. There's no way he doesn't understand what's reality here. Herbert was showing a video a minute ago from Whole Mars catalog of him driving up the hill in San Francisco directly into the sun, no disengagement. That tells me I just need to get my camera shroud cleaned, because when you buy a car, that new car smell, that's all the plastics in your car off gassing. That's a temporary thing. It goes away after time, but the particulates that come off, the chemicals that come off, can stick to your windshield and cloud it. So that's something that I guess everybody should do once, whether you have the service center do it. You can look up on YouTube how to do it yourself, just to remove that, clean it, put it back on. It would, help.
Just one more thing to add to this. Yesterday, I had a dinner with someone from Databricks. So I had to go. I live in St. Pete, so I had to go over to Tampa. So it's just right over the bridge. And if you guys know how Florida rain can be, Florida rain is like the hardest rain you'll ever have. Like, it rains so hard that you can't even see your hand in front of your face. I'm driving there, and it is nothing but backed up traffic because of car accident after car accident, ambulances, fire trucks, at least 4 of them. At least 4. All right. Now, I was driving with FSD the whole way. And even once I got past all of the accidents, which I never had to disengage or anything, FSD never had an issue. He was confident the entire time. It saw the entire time. Other people are pulling over the side with their hazards or everything. FSD doing a perfect job. But again, just to go show, like, imagine if those people had FSD. Would they have gotten those accidents? Would it have helped them in this situation? And meanwhile, we're just trying to, like, these people are just slowing down the progress. And I'm telling you, the whole Ed thing, either he somehow reports up to that lady, he's got a promotion, someone paid him, someone told him, there's something there. There's self-interest there, because the guy who was constantly posting about how awesome FSD was doing going over the Golden Gate Bridge and how it navigated the tolls so well and all these things, all of a sudden doesn't want to bring any of his own context into this. Instead, he wants to sit there and post about this article and not give any of the nuance, or even well, this was back then. Hey, this is how much it's improved since then. My real world experience. Nothing. Just forget about the fact that the second highest form of deaths for toddlers is car accidents. Forget about all that. Let's ignore that.
And let's not forget all the other things Tesla does for safety. Toddlers die in hot cars all the time. Tesla has occupant awareness. It is now harder than ever to forget a person inside your car. What did that cost Tesla? Nothing. And they rolled it out for free to everyone because let's save some lives here. But no, we got to keep bashing them. Makes no sense.
Yeah. I haven't seen Bloomberg's article about the accident where the toddler died or where they left a kid in the car seat. I haven't seen those. Where are those, Bloomberg?
We know the technology exists to prevent it. Why don't we mandate it? Where's that article?
Yeah.
Very frustrating.
So yesterday, Elon posted saying that he can't hold it anymore. He had to speak up about the big, beautiful bill, saying that it's going to bankrupt America. So now you've got Republicans, Congress, he's fighting against them, or at least he's not backing them. Do you think that, as a Tesla investor, from that perspective, that here you have, Elon now getting both sides upset at him, and more of a war that's going to prevent the things that Tesla investors want to see, right? Federal framework for autonomy. Could that now be at risk? Anything else at risk? Are you guys okay with what he did? How are you guys feeling about it?
I mean, I saw it coming before the election. I said that what he's trying to do is difficult within the framework of the way funding is done, and Congress would have to approve the cuts, and Congress isn't going to approve the cuts. They haven't approved the cuts. What I didn't expect was that the new bill would inflate the deficit quite as much as it did. And I can understand his frustration that he gave everything. He gave money. He donated a big chunk of his reputation with a lot of people. And his thanks is, we're just going to blow up the deficit anyway. I can understand his frustration. I avoid politics for that reason. You're dealing with hundreds and hundreds of representatives, 535 representatives between the House and Senate, who all have their own district, their own motivation, and their own long list of financiers to make happy. And it's a mess. It's a mess, and I wouldn't want to be in it.
I want to clarify to folks that I don't want the conversation to get into the politics of it, but we are talking about Tesla investors, and whether or not this action is going to hurt the Tesla investor or harm them or make it better? Or what's your impact to that perspective?
So about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I was on with Randy and we were talking about this, and it passed the House, and I was voicing my concerns about the fact that we are not addressing the debt issue, and the bond market is screaming that we're not addressing it. The bond market has been signaling a potential rate hike, not rate cuts. Bond market, you can get rid of the Fed. You don't need the Fed. Look over the last 2 decades, just look at the bond market. It'll tell you what you should do every time, bar none. It's why it was so easy to predict what the Fed was going to do. I wasn't just magical during the rate hikes and all that. I could just look at the bond market. I mean, like, and if you don't understand that, go back and watch the All In podcast. Chamath explains it very clearly, very simple on how the bonds work and why you don't really need a Fed. But I was talking to Randy about, like, I'm worried about that we're missing this opportunity. I see this as a once in a lifetime opportunity. Forget about politics. Put politics to the side. You have a president in there that is one and done this time. So there's no reasons to jockey because you want to get reelected. For who cares about that at this point? You have the House and the Senate, and you have the minds of people like Elon Musk in there, people like David Sack. You have a lot of really brilliant minds in there willing to help. You, what's his name? Antonio, help me out, guys. He sent. Oh God, he was Elon's fixer forever. Anyways, Elon's fixer, who used to work at Tesla, is there now, essentially leading Doge. You have all these brilliant minds in there. You have a once in, I think, a lifetime moment where you can fix this problem. And not only that, he was essentially elected for this. This is one of the things. Like, there's the board and other things ending the war, but this was like top of it. It's literally what Elon was going around and campaigning for is this. And my fear is that if this does not get fixed now, literally now, it will never get fixed. We will go bankrupt as a country. We will lose our reserves standard as a country. And we will go the way of the Roman Empire. There's no going back on this. Like this isn't like, I know people think Elon's being hyperbolic or maybe he's this is not an exaggeration. We will not be able to keep up with the interest payments. We will get to a point where all we're doing is paying interest. Like, people care about not cutting Social Security, Medicare, and all that. It's not going to matter soon. It won't matter if all of our money is going to pay interest. You don't like high taxes? Guess what? You're going to have high taxes. You don't like inflation? Look at what happened to Venezuela. You will have high inflation. This will perpetuate itself. Like, this is literally the last attempt we have at this. This whole narrative of we can grow our way out of this is a lie. It's fugazi. Okay? It's not real. If it was real, where has it been? Everyone always wants to say, look, all we have to do is grow our way out of this. Okay. Where has that growth been to lower our deficits? Where's that growth been to lower our debts? We don't know if it's going to happen. Could it mathematically on paper work? Yes, it could. In the same way, most Americans, if they get a pay raise, yeah, technically they could start saving now for their retirement. Now they can start paying down that debt. But you know what? The American people have a problem with spending. And when we get that pay raise, we immediately go and we book that vacation or upgrade that car or move into a bigger house. And we never save, we never pay down those debts. The US Congress is just as bad, if not worse, than the American people are. We cannot rely on the potential for a pay increase. We have to control what we can control, and that's cutting our expenses. We can control that. If every department would just take a 6% cut, as Rand Paul pointed out, we have a balanced budget. That doesn't mean we have no debt. We still have $1 trillion a year we're paying on interest payments, but that would at least stop the increasing of the bleeding. This is a real issue, and I don't think people are understanding how big of a deal of this is. The bond market is screaming it. It's screaming it. Look at commercial loans right now. If you guys look back at Chamath's big bet that he was going to make, well, it's like 100x now. And that's essentially betting on the collapse of our entire infrastructure here when it comes to our economy. Like, it's happening. We have to do something now. Like, so to go back to your question, Tesla investors, Herbert, it doesn't matter. What happens if our whole country goes bankrupt? That's it. It's a whole new world order then. Like, this is serious.
Sorry, dear, I was miles away. What were we talking about?
Just the collapse and demise of our whole society.
Yeah. Well, this is who America voted for. So I don't know.
Now, again, that's not that.
Yeah,
No, this is all important. Economy matters to
I
the
didn't do
Tesla
it. He did it.
No, you personally. No, and I'm actually calling out individuals. Start naming people in the chat. No,
This is a Congress issue. This is not a president issue.
Okay. It's a different show, guys. Okay. So the economy is absolutely important for the Tesla investor. No doubt. So thank you for explaining that. Elon himself has said that this is critical, important. So that's important. He's also said that we might be able to grow out of it if we focuses on robotics and autonomy. And I guess my question, though, is as a Tesla investor, I've heard people very concerned, right, saying, hey, what has he done now? Because he needs to speak his mind. That is important for him to do. And we love him for that. And he's really got a good heart and he's got a good kind of objective of what he wants to do. But does that impact the Tesla investor, right? Now you've got both sides. Now there's some people on both sides. It could become a wash again, right? Just like some people now, some Republicans are upset with him, but now more Democrats are now, lining up. But so maybe that's a wash. But at the end of the day, is this going to impact federal framework for autonomy, AI regulations, right? These are the things that matter to us. And is that going to change that if its relationship with the government changes?
I have a question for Nick on a hopeful note. What is your expectation for the federal autonomy framework for autonomy, and how's that going to help? I mean, not just Tesla, but everyone. Like, do you think that states will be able to adopt it and make it work in a quick way?
So I don't. Well, hold on. Sorry, I can't go past a lot of what Herbert just said. I'll get right to that. Just real quick to address Herbert, the whole growth thing, guys. We went through the internet revolution. We've gone through the iPhone and cloud computing and SaaS revolution. We have yet to make a dent in our debts and deficits. So now you think somehow AI is going to do that? BS. You're lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself.
Humanoid robots has a potential to impact the GDP. Absolutely true. Much bigger than all those things you've just mentioned.
You know what Congress does when they get more money in? They don't pay their debts. They spend more money.
Yeah.
That's what they do. This it's a fool's errand. I'm telling you, it's the same thing over and over. As far as how it impacts, I don't know what I don't really have a point of view on what they're going to do, Brian. As far as the framework, I don't think Elon pushing back on the big beautiful bill is detrimental to his relationship with the government. I think that's
that was my question, and I think so far everybody's saying the same thing as you both have said. Yep.
Yeah, I think it's a false premise. Elon's been very clear not to call out Trump specifically. He's called out Congress because Congress is the one that holds the purse strings at the end of the day. And Congress is the one who's going to stifle, no matter who the president is. If the president said, that's it, I want a balanced budget, nothing else. If Congress doesn't vote on it, there's nothing the president can do. It's irrelevant. That's why the Buffett came out with the Buffett rule of balance or you can't get elected. Make that a law.
You can't sign a bill that doesn't reach your desk.
Exactly. So I think that Elon, part of me thinks that this is a plan they have. Let me sit in my conspiracy corner here. I think one of the reasons Elon's removing himself is so that he can publicly do what he's doing right now. Trump can't be the one that does this because he has to, at the end of the day, be the one that brings, like, it's a very thin margin of support. Like, it's not like the Republicans have everything by wide margins, do whatever they want. It's tough. You lose one vote, you're screwed, essentially. Trump has to keep peace with the party. Elon can put the pressure and be the bad guy. And I kind of think that there's a possibility that this is a coordinated event plan to do what they need to do, because otherwise I don't know how it happens. But that's my conspiracy corner thought, because it's also interesting that it's not like Trump's come out saying anything against Elon.
Yeah.
That's curious, isn't it?
Yeah, I've heard some people say that at this point. So we don't know. We'll follow along to see what ends up happening, right? Because we have not yet heard Trump say anything bad about Elon say anything bad about Trump. Maybe they're working together. These are conspiracy theories. Okay.
What's that? What a conspiracy theory? Why is it?
Well, it's a theory. It's a
theory.
It's a theory that is based on.
Stop it,
some
Brian.
people are going, I noticed this and I noticed that.
Brian, you're a living conspiracy theory, Brian.
It's a theory that would require incredible intelligence, and these are the people who put a guy in charge of hurricanes who didn't know there was a hurricane season.
Okay, stop, sure. Guys. We're not here to do this.
Guys, why do you say
not
guys?
The conversation.
He acts bad, and you say guys. What is this? What is this?
I tried to get you earlier when I set it up, and you went off on your thing, and you're like borderline.
9 minutes.
How?
Borderline.
I literally said this doesn't matter about politics. It doesn't matter about party. It's irrelevant.
I know. You're talking about the economy.
We all die at the end of the day if we can't balance our budget. It's it. The economy's
Wait,
over.
which day? Which day, Nick? You have to tell me.
No, it's true. It's true. I agree with him. The economy is the most important thing for an investor.
It's
very
one.
It is. It just be terribly.
We might be in it right now. It might be happening at the moment. We just don't know.
It always is. It always is. That's the problem with time travel. It ages me terribly.
Yeah, but you're so cute.
Aw, yeah. I mean,
this is the content that he wanted. Just us rainbows. And
is just fishing for this all day. This is what I live on.
I know. I don't get it from my wife. So every week I come. No, I'm just kidding. I probably get too many compliments from my wife.
All right.
Yeah.
Herbert.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what to talk about next. So we basically covered the media attacking Tesla. We've got Elon and is getting out of politics, but then getting back into politics heavily. And he said, I don't want to do this, but I have to say something. You gotta believe when you see that. Some people are going, "Oh, he's playing 4D chess. He'd play." No,
I mean, he's doing his best. It is an unwieldy beast that he tried to tame. It's a 535-headed hydra, is what it is, and it's difficult. Perhaps impossible, and he's doing his best.
You don't think there's a chance that Elon's playing 4D chess here?
There's a chance.
He can do it all he wants, but the problem is he's herding cats, and the world's best cat herder is still herding cats.
But there's a chance, Nick. But I also see, and more likely chance, right? You know what is that thing where they say that if it quacks like a duck, it sounds like it's like more likely. It really is. It's just the simplest answer to it all, which is Elon is when he's on X. He is prone to just saying things because he feels something and he wants to say it. And then he's not
agree with that.
How is this going to impact Tesla and my shares of Tesla? And how is this going to impact my future plans?
That's not what I'm saying.
Not always, and almost more likely than not, he says something that what he said himself right there before that. Sometimes I stick my mouth, whatever, I shoot myself in the foot more often than I need to. Like he's just really believes in his first principles, right? Which is, this is something I need to talk about, right? What's going to happen to the country. And then, yes, this is going to impact my companies, but
no, but
this is more important.
You're putting that as part of the 4D chess. I don't think he cares about that. To me, the 4D chess is how to get cuts. And he's doing it his way. But the reason I think it is potentially 4D chess is and I think it's more than him just saying what's on his mind. It's because Trump hasn't said anything. That to me is like, okay, this is a wrinkle. Normally, anyone steps outside, or attacks Trump. Like, whatever you think, I'll give Trump credit. He's pretty good at not initiating, but he'll end it and he'll prolong the attacks. But even Rand Paul started making a lot of noise, and Trump hit him right away. But not with Elon. which makes it's like a
Hmm.
question mark. Like, is this a little more intentional or not?
I hope so. I really hope so, Nick. That's
Elon does control the largest megaphone in world history, so I would be hesitant to go after him, but I don't know. But then again, I'm not Dan O'Dowd because he loves going after Elon
You might
and
be.
and monetizing while he does it. I love the people who say Elon is censoring me. It's like, you have a blue check mark. You're monetized. Elon's paying you. You should disclose that. But
Wait, is
haters,
he?
man. Oh, Dan O'Dowd has a blue check mark. He is monetized.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Oh yeah, or at least he used to be. Maybe he gave up his blue check, but he was.
I kind of think that's awesome. It's
I
like
think
this
it's
is where
great.
people like when
You
people
should
say like, oh,
disclose.
Elon's got his own, initiatives and motives. Like, dude, if that were true, he wouldn't even let these people on his platform. Like, there's so many things he could do. There's so
If
many
he
things
was-
he could do.
If he was half the monster his critics make him out to be, we would never hear from those critics. They would be silenced. But I have to wonder about those people. Do you really think he's that evil? And if you do, why are you speaking out? It's like the scene where the guy tried to blackmail Bruce Wayne, and Morgan Freeman said, "If you think this billionaire is Batman, do you really want to blackmail him?" I don't know. Gotta draw some lessons from that documentary film. Pretty sure it's a documentary.
Maybe Elon's more Batman than Rocket Man.
He does make cars.
so okay. Here we are, June 4th, right? And we know that Tesla's already testing out cars that are driverless in Austin. We don't know yet when they're going to launch it. Like we're still all expecting that there will be a date that you're going to say, okay, we've started paid commercial, even if it is a, some sort of invite only. We're expecting that to happen. We've not yet heard. Are you guys thinking anything? Positive, negative, concerned, not concerned?
I don't know. Nick?
I know that I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's going to be, I was thinking it was going to be a big event. And then when we heard it's going to be 10 cars to do the pilot, I was like, okay, it's not going to be a big event. It wouldn't make sense to be a big event. If it was 100 cars and some of them were cybercabs, it'd be very cool. But I think this is so big that it doesn't need an event. It's like the Model Y unveiling. Just look at it. That's it. Okay, bye, everybody. Really? That was the whole event? It was like 26 minutes. Yeah, don't worry. It's going to be big.
Yeah, I don't expect an event at all. So
right,
what's the reason for the event? Like what Brian was saying, right? You're going to basically have 10 cars. They're going to get out there. It's going to be limited geography, limited, invite only. Then they expand it. What's the event for? If you were trying to launch something and you needed to have 10,000 people, sign up for it, download the app, use the app and get it profitable right away, you create an event. But if this is not one, there's no need. It's only more negative if you actually showcase and say, we're launching. You can do a big event once you decide to expand, let's say from 100 cars to 10,000 cars. And they go, this is it. We've got it. We've solved it. We've tested it for several months now. We're ready to go big. Then you can do an event then.
So you
can always do an event later.
That's true. Here's my theory. You ready for this? You sitting down, Herbert?
I love your theories because you've been right once.
Once. Okay, once. All right. My theory. It's already started. We've already started. Robotaxi's live.
Yes.
We just don't know it yet.
Yes.
And my theory is that they've been giving rise to a handful of select people, probably internal employees only, who are driving without anyone in the driver's seat. Yes. And we don't know about it because nobody's caught it on camera yet. But once it's caught on camera, I think that's when it'll start to go viral. Like Tesla silently launched whatever. We have these cars, and I think it'll start to have a little bit of a viral moment to it. And then maybe at some point in June, they would have a like 1 hour screening, whatever, where they talk about the progress they've made so far, what they've seen, how they've scaled from 10 to 15 to 20 cars, and just give a little data rather than, hey, we're starting today. It'll be so we started about 2 weeks ago. This is where we are so far. This, we're learning, but this is how we're seeing things roll out. So I think it'll be kind of like that. Which is kind of my guess. Not saying, I mean, maybe they haven't started yet. Maybe tomorrow's what they start, but I don't think they're going to announce it. I think we're going to find out that it started by somebody being like, oh my God, there's no one in that Tesla, and taking a video, and that just shows up on X.
I love it. So guys, as a reminder, I pop out at this top part of the show so I can get a quick break before the after. I answer as many of the questions and comments that came in during the show as possible. If you're watching on my channel or on Herbert's channel, it will redirect you automatically to that. And to those folks, I will see you in 3 minutes. And if you can't join me, I will see you some other time. Nick, I'll see you next week. And thanks, everybody.
I love that theory. I love it.
Oh, you do,
Nick? I do. Like so there is there's a potential then, right, that maybe they started June 1st, which was, that Tesla was hinting, right, June 1st, like,
which
they
is why
actually said,
I think
how many days till June 1st?
Yeah, which is why I think Elon posted what he did, being so nostalgic and retrospective. Essentially,
when did he do that? Yeah.
That was like on June 2nd. It was like on that Monday.
Yeah. Just 2 days ago, right? He posted saying something like 9 years ago. That's when he retweeted a post he did 9 years ago when he said, hey, I'm going to start an autopilot team program. And then he said that both Ashok Goswami and Milan Kovac, Ashok is now in charge of the AI program, and Milan is now in charge of the Optimus program. Both of them he hired during that post. And Ashok Goswami was the first person he interviewed, he said. So he was being very nostalgic. Mm-hmm. And that I agree with you, because I reported on that on Monday, and I was saying the same thing, which is, he must have felt that there was a milestone that he hit, a major milestone for him to be nostalgic, to say, hey, I this is what happened 9 years ago, right? Yeah. So it's possible. I like it. I like it a lot. So June 1st, they could have already done 10 cars. It's already happening. And then there's no need to say anything, because it's limited geography, limited people, maybe just employees, but at least no one in the car. And then they expand it. Yes, that's possible. The
only way you're going to know is it's camouflage, right? It's like the only way you'll even notice it is if someone who's in the Tesla bubble happens to see one without a driver. Otherwise, other people will just be like, oh yeah, Teslas drive themselves. Everyone knows that. Like it's, when someone thinks of a self-driving car, they think of Tesla. And so I think that just wouldn't even like really strike a chord with a lot of people. So unless you have the right person that notices it, I don't think,
if it's geofenced, right? And geofence means a smaller area and select people. You don't want to tell people. You don't want to say, hey, it's between these blocks. What's going to happen? You're going to have people coming in there. They're going to try to, screw them up. They're going to have fun with them. You want to keep it as down low as much as possible.
I mean, you're going to have people like us going out there trying to film it. Driving next to it, trying to film with equipment, Yeah. You want to avoid all that.
Interesting, because they've already done this, didn't they? That's when they did say, right, what, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, they came out and said that actually we already have cars that have been driving around with, in that case, didn't they already have people on the
Tesla engineer in the passenger seat?
Tesla engineer in the passenger seat.
But nobody's seen it yet, right?
Right. Nobody has videos of that. And that's already been happening without a driver on the driver's seat. So, I like this theory. 10 cars. They already did. That's the other thing that was confusing. It's like they already had 30 cars doing it, test driving it for months. Yeah. So for them to say 10 cars that are actually paid, driverless, unsupervised drives, they could already start doing it.
So that's my theory. My theory is like at any moment, it could happen where somebody posts like, "Oh my God, look what I just saw." Like, just think about it. The second somebody posts a Model Y without someone in the driver's seat driving in Austin, that thing is going to go viral. The stock will react, and it's actually such a better from a Tesla owner or a stock owner. It's actually a better than an event, because with an event, stock runs and then you sell the news. With this, it just drops, and there's no sell the news. It's just the stock goes. You know what I mean? So it's kind of better from an investor perspective.
Yeah, Tesla Yoda has a new program that I don't even know what website it is, but he's asking people who live in Austin, if you see a Tesla car and they, take a photo of their license plate, and then we can track to see from that, kind of crowdsource program, how many cars are in the Robotaxi program. And we can see if there's 10, there's 100, because once you report the same license plate, then we know it's the same one, but we'll see new ones. You can add it up. So it's kind of a way for us to try to see how many cars are truly out there at this point. Don't know if that'll work, but at least it's some effort for us to track it ourselves, right?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much. So you stay on this channel, and then you'll be redirected to Brian. He always does a great job answering more questions and exploring the topics more deeply. Thanks, everybody. Bye.